Hey, being a project manager is tricky, especially for me because I see myself more as an engineer, right? Like I like working on problems, I like finding solutions, that like direct, right? I'm actually like in the hands, like I'm touching the wires. Whereas being a project manager, you're not touching wires, like you're leading people. I think it's a much different problem. I think it's a much different output. I think it's so hard because like with AI tools, I can technically do both, right? I can lead people and I can also like be I can be in the field, right? But it's not the best use of my time and it's not my responsibility as well because it's not I don't say that in like the sense like, oh, it's not my responsibility, so I don't care. I say it more in the sense that if I were to take on both roles, I would be doing a disservice to the team. So let's say a good example here. Let's say I have five engineers and I see a couple of them are having problems. I see one particular has a problem that I know the solution to, and maybe I just need to spend like 3 hours of solid work getting that problem solved. I have like 5 hours in a day or whatever. I can spend 3 hours and solve that one engineer's problem, and now we have like a feature, we have an artifact. Boom, awesome. But compare that to I spend those 3 hours, those 5 hours on blocking and helping each engineer, and I have five times that output. I think that's the thing I have to really set in stone in my head is that like my job is not just to produce one thing, but to enable the team to produce multiple things. And it's also make sure they're better engineers than they were before. 'Cause I think a lot of time actually I think maybe this is inspired from Genesis or maybe it's like a biblical thing, but like no person left behind with the whole sheep analogy. But the idea that it's not a matter of just like firing people. So like I could technically say, hey, this person isn't outputting as much as I want them to, or not making as much progress. But that's not my goal. My goal is to say if I can find a way such that I can take this person and make them the most cracked engineer possible, then I can apply that pipeline to a bunch of more people, and then my human capital increases just that much. Like it's like tenfold, a hundredfold. So I'm much more interested in that than just saying, oh, okay, this person isn't that good right now, right? Because you can't just think about like, oh, today and tomorrow. You have to think about, okay, a month, 2 months, 3 months. Like, how can I not only grow this team but this organization? The organization reference being Big Think AI. Um, it is hard. It is hard because sometimes it's tempting, not just like not to fire people, like it's like, oh, take this person's work or do this, but it's like, how can I be the best team lead as I can? I can. I think it's also nice because I do see this more in in my future. Um, I think with all the stuff I envision to do, there is some leadership role involved, such that I will not always get to be in the weeds of what I'm doing. Right. And as tempted as it is, like, oh, I can just do this myself. I have to really learn how to not only set a vision and guide people, but also like learn how to designate tasks and build people up. And it's like it's very important just for all the future stuff. Even with the whole thing with Star Labs, the idea eventually with Star Labs is to have multiple people working in Star Labs working on stuff, not just myself. So technically would then be a lab for more than one person. I think even for, this is like a side note, but I think what might do is I might try and do a collaboration between Star Labs and Big Think AI, where I can have some people from Big Think AI work on Star Labs projects. So technically they're still separate, but then I still get some work done there. 'Cause I always feel so bad when I don't see as much output from Star Labs. But point being, project manager not easy, but I'm still getting better. I'm learning how to work with people to understand problems, figure out workarounds, figure out solutions. I'm really following up. I think following up is really the big thing. Like after a meeting now, I can just say, okay, I'm going way on to the next meeting to talk to you guys. I can follow up in between and see, well, I found this resource, I found this, and go about it. In terms of actual real time stuff, right now, one of the project teams I'm project manager of, it's exam season, so our progress is a bit slower than it usually would be. So I've set the expectation that that is allowed, right? I don't expect them to jeopardize their exams for the project. I can't speak for the project. So right now we're moving a bit slower, but I think that's also a nice thing where it's like I'm learning how to even work around stuff like that. Because I had two teams and it's like kind of A/B testing where it's like with one team, and I said we're just gonna shut it down before exams. With another team, I just say, okay, we're gonna push through, but we're gonna go a bit slower um in exam season. I think I actually prefer this approach because I didn't really have to shut down the other one. To be honest, I think there's more work that can be done. So in the future, I'll try and do that. But yeah, besides that, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.